Over the course of the last 20 years, how do you think our partnership has gone?
Well, it's not something I would recommend to a young couple who, when they just get married, go into partnership together. What do you think? Where do you think we got it right, and why haven't we killed ourselves?
Well, you remember we always wanted to work together. It's just that we actually ended up working together a lot earlier than we thought we would.
That's true.
Because my mother started the firm. But we were lucky because we had older role models and they could model for us what partners should be like, how they should behave. And what's important was just understanding that you have to trust and respect each other.
How do you feel we're doing from a gender empowerment perspective in terms of the percentage of women in high places in law?
Law is not the issue because there are lots of women who have run law firms. So we actually have a tremendous amount of gender equality in the practicing bar.
What about gender equality in the litigation bar?
That's different. So you've had female managing partners
Yes.
of most of the major firms,
Yes.
Including ours. But there is a shortage of good female role models, senior female role models in the litigation bar.
Now, when I first started out in practice, I was sort of told that it's okay to be a corporate lawyer because you can push hard in the negotiating boardroom. But you don't want to be a female litigator because you need to come across as very strong. If you come across as too strident, you're called a bitch. If you come across as too soft, then people will say you're using your feminine wiles to get your way. It's a lose-lose for the woman.
I think really it's the acceptance that women can be tough, can be aggressive, within the normal confines of and fair play that litigation requires. But they can do all this and still be a woman, still be feminine.
Yes.
What we should have is a mindset where we should, all things being equal, if you need that diversity, put a woman on the board. Because if you don't have a woman on the board, you don't have that diversity, you don't have that perspective. Or when you go to a panel, you speak on a panel, if there are no women on the panel, and you're talking about...
It sends a visual message.
And you should
right?
keep saying that. We know the stats. They say that boards with women on them actually perform better.
What about sexual harassment? Harvey Weinstein is literally the 600-pound gorilla in the room these days. Do you feel that in your area of practice, in the business world that you inhabit, you've seen any overt or maybe less overt forms of sexual harassment?
I think the debate is going to be where the lines of acceptability are. I mean, some behavior is obviously not acceptable. Some behavior is acceptable unless you are extremely politically correct.
Yes.
And there's some things that fall within the gray zone. So it's important that you actually empower people to talk about this and have a conversation about this and be honest about this. If you say, this does not make me feel comfortable.
We need to stop treating ourselves as victims, don't we? We sort of feel that, if somebody treats me like this and I don't feel comfortable, it's not for me to tell him I'm not comfortable. It's for him to stop doing it and then I go and complain. But the poor man may not know that it is an area of discomfort. Sexual harassment works both ways. I think it's important as a female leader to not just worry about your women, but also that your men are looked after, because it's important that their family lives are protected. That was something that meant a lot to me, and it continues to mean a lot to me today, even though this is not an issue that comes up so much these days.